All right, so we have a sample question here that Bernarda brought to us, and the question says, an owner asks an architect to suggest a delivery method. By the way, that's a good point. We don't necessarily mandate a delivery method. We suggest a delivery method. Suggest a delivery method that is suited for a time-sensitive two-building project in which risks are decreased by validating cost per task. Additionally, the owner wants a single contract approach. So a couple of things I want you to be thinking about when you're doing this. Time, what the scope of the project is, what the risk tolerant of the project is, and what kind of contract do they want. So without looking at the answers, I can already tell you that you can begin mentally drawing a little circle that says owner, and then we have X, right? I mean, a question mark or X. So owner needs to have a single entity, all right? Okay, so the owner wants a single entity. So, you know, does he want the architect here and the contractor here? I mean, that doesn't sound to me like that's what he wants. He doesn't, because he wants one single entity. So, okay, so owner, maybe there's like an architect and contractor sort of condition that you can have both of them, so you have one entity. Huh? Is there something like that? Maybe. Okay. So the other thing that they want is they want speed. So this is already trying to point out, I mean, you probably don't know much about delivery methods. Maybe you don't know anything about delivery methods, but it's the way in which your project is to be delivered like a baby, right? There is either C-section, and there is either, you know, normal delivery. There is all kinds of, you know, induced delivery, right? So the same idea is here on the project. How is it going to be delivered? So on that note, I can tell you that there is design build, which is the traditional method, and we have a video on that on our YouTube channel. So please like, subscribe, watch it, and let me know how you like it. So then we have design bit build. Actually, my bad. Design bit build is a the traditional delivery method. My bad. Don't subscribe. Sorry, but design build is one. It's not a traditional one. Design bit build is a traditional one. Then there is CM at risk. There is IPD, integrated project delivery, right? There is CM as advisor, and so forth, right? So there's a bunch of them. In fact, we haven't all, I think most of them here. So what delivery method I would recommend to this client? Well, another thing, so the complexity of the project, they're also saying something about decrease by validating the cost per task. That part I've never heard before. I'm not sure if I understand it, but the fact that they want to be fast tracked to some extent, and they want to have one single point of entity of contact for contract. I am leaning towards, we have CM at risk right here, PVD, okay. And they said for the schematic space, isn't that what it says here? Click on the road in the delivery method options, the schematic to indicate the most appropriate delivery method. Okay, so it's one of these rows. Okay. Takes a little thinking, you know, right away. Okay, so they get the pre-design, schematic design, the contractor comes on board. Then they do design development. Then do construction documents. Then they do the bidding and negotiation. They do a schematic. What is SC? Oh, subcontractor selected. Okay. It takes a little bit of thinking to understand this chart. Honestly, the way it's been put together. So this one, The cost of construction is determined here. The contractor is determined here. This looks a lot to me like a design bid bill, where you design everything, then get a contractor, then gets awarded, and then you do CA on the project. I don't think that's what they want. They want a single point of entity and they want it to be fast. So CM risk right here is selected on the second option. Let me just look at that. So CM is selected. Then pre-design begins, schematic design, design development. They get a package. Okay. They do a package one. Then they select their subs for that. Then they award another cost of construction. Then they do CA. Then they do another package. And then they do another package. So this one I kind of like a little bit because you already have a contractor from the very beginning, which is one point of contact from the very beginning on the project. And they do multiple package, which allows you to be a little bit more fast, like faster. All right, but I'm not sure about it yet. So let's look at the other one. So we do pre-design, schematic design. Then on schematic design, you get a contractor. Then after you get a contractor on board, you do design development, construction documents, and then you do your bidding and negotiation, schematic subcontractor. The contract gets awarded, and then you do CA. I'm leaning towards this and maybe this, but I'm not sure. So this one also with the CM looks like a good one too, because you already have a point of contact from the beginning, but you still do pre-design, schematic design, but this doesn't save you so much time right here. This is, you just happen to have one point of contact, but it doesn't help you with the fast time as much, I don't think. Then we have contractor right from the beginning. So that's good. Sorry about that. Then you select your subs, that's good. And then you do the whole process and award the contract. That may be a feasible one. Okay. And then we have this other one, which is kind of like a clear line. This is pretty much almost like this. It's almost like the first one. It's like a design bid bill. All right. So that being said, I'll give points to that. I'll give points to that. And I'll give points to that. So I'm already looking at these three. But the only one that really deals with the timing situation on a very aggressive way is that one. So in my opinion, this is one of the answers. Or this is one of the answers. Okay, those are my only two, right? And I'm already being persuaded because I see a red color on this picture. So maybe I'm already being persuaded, but this is the only one that deals with packages that are issued in different times so that you can meet the deadline. You can begin doing foundations and the building hasn't even been finished. The design hasn't even been finished. Then you can do the core or whatever, exterior, and then you can do all the detailing, right? So the only one that's plausible on the time one is that one. And let's see what the correct, anybody has any questions? It doesn't make sense. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I'm agree, but I agree with you. Like those two are the closest one, the second and the fourth one. But that was my question, like how I understand like what is the best from those two, because I know that construction management selected is a way that could be faster to do any building. But how I understand, like, but you are explaining now, like I understand a little better now. Like
So yes. So I guess what you're asking me is, Darwin, how can I know what goes with what? What you know? One thing is, how can I know what all of these spaces are and what delivery method makes the most sense? And reading this chart takes time. So you got to understand how the chart works. So that takes time. And I would say get used to it because things like this do tend to show up in the exam. So, and the other thing is that you have to study each one of the delivery methods and their pros and cons. Very thoroughly study all of the delivery methods and the pros and cons. All right. So Natalia, you wanted to say something? I'm gonna mute myself. You can talk real quick.
No, I just want to say actually that I had the same question than her. Like, how was the methodology? Like, I understand, how you're thinking, but I'm not sure, like, if that is something like established or it's just, you're just checking the best fit for the condition, or if that is like a methodology that we have to like a path to kind of determine this. You know what I mean? Like a process, like.
So yeah, so there is like a mental mapping process. So and there are several different documents. I'm going to try to share them with you that walk you through each delivery method. And you, in the moment you start learning them, I mean, one thing I learned when I was taking the AREs was that one thing is to kind of be familiar with something, and one thing is to actually know it and manage it and be able to actually explain it to other people. When you get to the point where you really understand something, then you're able to teach it and you're able to spot it right away. And like, you can never be over prepared. So I want you, each one of you, to really master delivery methods and find different types of projects and start partner them together. Like, okay, I'm going to do a museum with an aggressive timeline and an aggressive budget. Okay, what's the best one? Okay, I'm going to do a hospital that wants a single point of entity and wants to work with a GMP. You guarantee maximum pricing. Okay, what's the delivery method? We're gonna do a single family residence where the owner wanted to ensure that the design was maintained to the T and everything was, whatever. You can actually like create your own different projects and try to find your own delivery methods and then pair them together. And that will be very cool to do. All right. So right now I'm gonna tell you, go right ahead and study what I'm going to be sending you. I'm going to be sending you a PDF and download it and study it, because then you're gonna be very, very good at determining what delivery method goes with what kind of project and what kind of project criteria and what kind of client. No all clients are created equal.